Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I don't think we have any boys and girls listening.
I hope not.
No, I am your host, Joe. That is your host, Ken. I thought he
Can
was going to introduce himself.
Can Mitchell? Can he? Yeah, yeah.
I failed at it. Um,
Eh.
we are here today with a new episode. It's been a little while since we did one.
Yeah. How have you been, Joseph?
Pretty good. The season's changing.
Yeah.
My
It is
my
getting nicer.
It is, but that means my allergies are getting worse.
Oh yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll take the weather change.
I will take the weather change as well. I very much appreciate it not being like anything under 40 degrees is trouble for me. I got to bundle up. I got to wear 9 layers, and just that cutting cold air is not. I'm not a fan. So, yay for the warmer weather, for the what is it? The balmier, more tepid weather, or I don't know. Trying to pull out them $50 words, I guess.
Yeah, way to go. We've been doing many bike rides here. We're gonna do one again today later on. I'm very excited. It's nice today. It's in the 60s.
Yeah,
with sunshine.
Oh, yeah. I think we have. We're sunny out here as well. We're about 10 degrees colder than you.
I know. But it's so weird for those of people that don't know. I relocated, and now I only live about 3.5 hours from him, and still it's crazy how different the temperature can be.
Yeah, the fluctuation.
Yeah.
Hey. It was.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say in regards to that temperature situation when we visited Los Angeles in January. It was the range of temperatures out there is absolutely crazy because depending on what elevation you're at, you either have 60 degrees and sunny, or you end up with like snow because of your elevation. So
yeah, it's crazy. That's like Phoenix. When I lived in Phoenix, it's the same thing. There's like northern Arizona, and a lot of people don't like, they just associate Arizona as like pure desert, like hot and heat. Arizona is one of the most beautiful states because you can gradually go in. If you're in Phoenix, you're in like the low desert. When you start making your way to the high desert and like northern Arizona, it is beautiful. You could go through like almost all 4 seasons in one day.
Wow.
It's so beautiful there. But that's kind of reiterates the California thing too, where it's like you could just be in one zone and then you go a couple hours and it's like all of a sudden you're in snow. Like it's so crazy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. You have a show tonight.
I have a live stream. There's a local friend of mine, Mel's Music. He's got a YouTube channel, and he was kind enough to invite me to be a guest artist on his format, and it'll be fun. We'll banter back and forth, talk a little bit about music and inspiration in regards to how we got where we are, and what makes us up as artists and musicians, and we'll play some songs, and then after that apparently there is a huge event, Fox Valley here in the suburbs of Illinois. Fox Valley has a huge following, and this sort of will segue into our subject today. It's called the Fox Valley Jammers Club, and they're a Facebook group. And all of the open mic hosts at the various locations throughout the western Chicagoland area, mostly western, I should say, west of the Chicago city limits. All these northern suburbs, middle tier, what would you call it? Like central, and then southern. All of these open mic hosts are being invited to place called Evenflow in Geneva, Illinois, and they're all of the hosts are welcome to come, and it's like going to be some big bash, big party, and everybody's going to perform some songs, and there's going to be 2 stages, and it's going to be some big raucous event, and I believe it'll go. Doors open at 6 p.m. I think. Then the music starts around 7, and then they're going to try and go into 11 p.m. As far as they can go into 11 p.m. So these open mic people that host events at local bars and local breweries and stuff like that are the ones that are being celebrated tonight. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
It's good to see that like a community is starting somewhere where it's not just used as in like a money revenue stream. Like it's actually to celebrate art and like people who are helping get art out there.
Yeah, 100%. Our topic that I wanted to sort of throw and see if throw at the wall today is this idea or this the importance of open mics. And if you're listening and you don't necessarily know what an open mic is, what it is an individual hosts an event for an evening. So let's say Monday night. Let's use Elmhurst Brewing Company over in Elmhurst, Illinois, from 7 p.m. till 11 p.m. The host will essentially, they'll allow anyone that wants to come up and perform and play music, whether it's guitar, percussion, piano, singing, you name it, ukulele, what do you call it, a mandolin. It's a public event that allows you to come in for free and sign up on a list. And when your turn comes up, you get 3 songs or 15 minutes total. And these open mics, from my personal experience, have become immensely, immensely valuable for the musician experience. And I don't know, in regards to the beginnings of your experience when you first started as a drummer, and did you ever hit any open mics? Were you ever able to experience this kind of thing?
Yeah, we did tons. And you always have to use the back line as a drummer, which can be a hit or miss, just based on the gear. But I actually had a lot of fun at open mics because they really make you have to like think on your feet, and you only have a certain amount of time to like get to a crowd in terms of your music, or like, so you have to pick your strongest songs. It also just builds your chops up.
It's good that you said that, because for myself, my personal experience, the open mics have been an immense confidence booster, because it's a small little compact experience where you can see how good you are at your skill set that you've been working on, and it'll essentially let you know whether or not you need to put more work in here, or if you're well, my voice sounds great, I'm good in regards to that. Like, it is a wonderful opportunity to test your abilities with all of the with all of your self-doubts and maybe confidence issues that you might have. Open mics are great for it, not only because it is a quick and easy way to try your stuff out and see how you feel, see how, like, to be in the moment, like you said, to there's the people are watching you, and in a lot of cases, if you want to start to perform in front of people, you have to get comfortable with having people staring directly at your face and at you, listening to what you're doing. So it's a great platform for new artists that are they're just beginning. They're learning the ropes. How do you do this? How do you do that? Have you? Can you give me like one positive open mic experience and then one negative open mic experience?
Yeah, sure. The positive one, one of my first bands, Sacred Nine. Actually, I'm sorry, not Sacred Nine. We did Nimba, the second band I was ever in. We did an open mic night down in the Gold Coast by. We were at a gay bar, and it was Tees on Clark.
Okay.
And it was one of the most funnest, best, I think, show I've played in my early stages of like playing. They were so cool. They actually let us do an encore, so we went off, and they're like, no, we want you to go back on. And so we got to go back on, and it's so cool. It was so much fun. We really enjoyed it. The host there was awesome. He was just so creative and clever, and the crowd started to come in. It was just a lot of fun. That was one of the best experiences I think I've had as an open mic, where we were out late playing still. Like we played the first set early, and then the second set we got to go back on at like 11 or whatever. So it was like fun to just be able to like do it. There was one open mic for the bad one was, and again, I'm only speaking as a drummer for an open mic. I haven't done like you've done, like a singer-songwriter where you're by yourself. The backline gear was so bad. It was like one of those like horrible drum sets, the just dents in the skins and the heads of the drums. They were like falling apart. The clamps weren't even working, so the drums kept falling over. It was one of those where I was like, we had 3 songs to play, and I just remember looking at the other guys and being like, we can't do this, guys. Like, I can't play on this thing. That was, and the host was a jerk. He was one, like, he just wanted you to get on and off and didn't care. They gave you like less than 5 minutes to set up, so it's like, oh my god. And as a drummer, it's a little tricky to set up in 5 minutes because you're just trying to get comfortable. It's not like playing a guitar where it's still your guitar. It might be a different amp. You're literally playing on a different drum kit. So you got to like kind of set it up how you're playing. And if you're doing really intricate stuff, it's hard, It was just a bad show. I forgot where that one was at, but those are my 2 good and bad experience with it. Did you have any?
Yes, I've had some, but one of the points that I will segue into it in regards to like
I didn't mean to carry on.
No, please. Come on. This is loose. Today we're loose. We're gonna have good conversation about it. No worries. A good experience was probably one of my first open mic experiences, and I was so nervous and so short on confidence that what I was doing was any good. And I got up there and I started to play, and I fumbled a bunch of chords and forgot a lyric and struggled a little bit on one of the songs. And then eventually, the redness left my face, and I just embraced it and played the next couple songs. And by the time I was done, the whole room was cheering, "Hey, good job, good job, good job." And even if I stunk in that moment, the community members there lifted me up, gave me the confidence, and said, "Oh, that was great. You did great.
That's awesome.
Keep doing it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going." In terms of like worst experiences, sometimes there's a dynamic where there's a difference between a singer-songwriter open mic and an open jam open mic. And open jam open mics are typically any group of musicians of any type, drummers, guitarists, bass players, singers, piano players, everyone can jump in essentially in a full band setting. And if you're not careful and you show up to one of those, it can move really, really slowly. And there's not as much of I guess a fair or diplomatic flow to things, where if it's a singer-songwriter situation where you've signed up your name and you have a specific slot, you're basically you kind of you get your turn, and then when your turn is over, someone else gets their turn.
Yeah.
Well, the dynamic with open mic jams is, well, the bass player might sit in for 5 or 6 songs, or the drummer may be playing for most of the night because he's the only drummer that's there. And the dynamic is a little bit different, to where it's not necessarily you get a fair opportunity to essentially have the stage to try out your material. So I've been to, one of those where it was like, it was already like 10:30 at night, and it felt as though it was a small core of musicians that were just occupying the stage, and the only person that would switch was the singer. And that gets a little bit into a dicey, or just a
clicky.
And well, yeah, clicky, but more of it. Just know what you're getting into, because one is far more loose than the other one is. And it wasn't necessarily, for my own experience, it wasn't necessarily a bad experience, but it was the first time I ran into that, where I didn't realize open jam is different, and it was 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock, and I still was not, my turn still wasn't coming up. And sometimes what happens with those is there's so many people that sign up, and it pushes over too long, and you don't get the opportunity to actually perform, because it's loosey goosey. There's not as much follow along with, okay, next. No, it's sometimes the vibe or the energy of the evening is, the next guitar player will come up there and they'll talk to everybody in the band. Hey, how's it going? And it's way, way, way looser and way different than a songwriter's open mic, like the traditional open mic. So that's maybe that's an instance in the topic for today. Like, just be aware of the differences in regards to open mics. From kind of touch back on your experience where the backline kit is a little bit rough. I've run into that with group members and band members as well, where that drum kit is just a dog. It's just no good. There was recently there was a really good drum kit that our drummer appreciated and enjoyed playing behind. But it can be a very different experience for the type of musician you are, right? And the overall point I think we're trying to make today is that open mics are fantastic opportunities for beginners to try out their stuff for an audience. And from what you were saying, even from your own experience, like, did you feel being able to play an open mic was a way for you to shake the nerves and the rust and the whole, any stigmas or worries you might have about your abilities, and what's it like to play in front of people, and did it help?
At that time, I was probably 19, 20 at the time. 21 maybe. I was in a different headspace, more being like, are people going to like our music, and it was hard to remember exactly where my brain was at that moment. I definitely think it did help though, because I get really nervous up on stage, and I've learned now as I go up on stage that it's like it's helpful the more it's like any muscle you practice, like the more you go up. You've been doing honestly, like you've been awesome at it. It's been fun watching your posts from open mics because you and I have been playing together for what, like 20 years now? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, like over 20 years. And like, just, and this isn't blowing smoke up your butt or anything, but it's like seeing where you were and how far you've come. And I know you're probably like, oh, well, really, it's not though, because I know many musicians in my life, and a lot of them can't do what you're doing in terms of getting up on a stage by yourself, play guitar, and sing. That's not easy to do. So you need
Well,
to cut yourself
thank
some
you.
slack first off, because that's really difficult to do in any context. And the fact that you've been doing it so much lately has shown just how much you've like relaxed a lot more. Um, but yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I think it helps with a lot of that stuff. It helps with uh, just being able to focus on the music, or just being able to make sure you're doing the right thing at the right time, or especially as a drummer, like you get so nervous and anxious, you start to speed up because you just want to like get through the song, and
Yeah.
it really helps you kind of calm down and being like, oh, I need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, I find it more nerve wracking playing shows just because I feel like actual shows, because people are there paying money rather than just being at a bar at a random time, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Not meaning that it's not, I don't mean it to come off wrong. That's just for me personally, because it always was like a relation of like, oh, these people are actually here to see us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying in regards to the expectation that the different kinds of audiences have. I've experienced it even with open mics. A lot of times, uh, the people in the bar or the brewery or the sandwich shop, you're just there for noise. You're just there
Yeah,
for entertainment. Um, and if people are actually they're paying tickets to actually see you, their intent is very different than someone walking into a bar and there's people playing live music.
yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that.
But it's not discrediting. I think open mics are amazing, like you said, for starting off or doing new material, or like just even getting out of a comfort zone. Like go in front of an audience that doesn't know you.
Yes.
That's a huge, like, you that can shock you a little bit, because you're so used to getting praise sometimes that it's like
Yes.
maybe the
That's
last
right.
thing you need is not to be in the comfort zone, and that's going to help you kind of explore a little bit more of your musicality in a way, or something. It could open up something.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they are valuable and good to do. And I think you're doing an amazing job with it, because you've been consistent with it, and it's been really cool to see the growth you've had with just doing that.
Well, part of the reason for being consistent and doing it as much as I have is it sort of delves into the whole idea of exposure. The way the general principles of marketing works is the more you see something, the more people notice, or the more they remember you, and you become you know a common thing in their minds, and they oh I you know one of the dynamics I've tried to use is that if I go to an open mic, the first two songs that I play can rotate, but there's always one song that stays the same all the time, so that people who may not have heard you so much will hear that song as if it's your single, and they'll say, "Oh, this is
That's
that guy."
good.
Oh, okay. So, and one of my friends, Guy Coral, he I don't remember if he was the one who sussed that out or if we sussed that out together in a discussion, but it was it became apparent that that's kind of a good way to package yourself in a way. But there are in regards to opportunities to play music live to people, um, I even before I started doing open mics, I wondered, how the heck do you do this? Like, I don't have a manager, I don't have a record contract, I don't have ins with, venues and, all of these things that you would need to be or have in order to be able to play out live at, bars or, concert venues. Beginners don't have that. The open mics are fantastic for that because they're everywhere. They're in breweries, they're in coffee shops, they are in local bars, they are, you name it. And I'm going to be spending a bit more time researching to try and find more opportunities within the Chicago city limits for open mics, because having explored the northern western suburbs and the southern suburbs of Chicagoland, it's incredible how many there are. And in regards to that, what you had said about, the audience is kind of dependent on where you are at. You'll find as well that open mic audiences are different even in and of themselves. There are some audiences that are very, very intent on listening, and the community that shows up to those open mics are really, really patient, and they sit there and they listen, and there's very little talk or conversation in the room that you're at, because a number of these locations, the people that come in want to hear you. They want to hear new stuff, and they want to support anyone that's new and anyone that's trying out a new song that they're not sure whether they've remembered all the words yet. So let's see how this goes, kind of thing. And then there are other open mics where, people are. It seems as though the crowd is trying to talk over you.
Yeah.
So there's a varying range in regards to that. But point is they're everywhere, and they are valuable opportunities to try your stuff and to feel it out and experience what your artistic expression, your songs and your singing or your musicality, what it does in a live room, so to speak.
Yeah,
so.
I agree. And piggybacking off of what you said too, like, you've been gaining connections, which is another thing that's been really cool to watch, is like, you're doing the groundwork of exactly what we talked about on this podcast, is like, you're putting in the work and effort, and it's starting to pay off. And that's like important for people to understand that. It's like, we can all wish to be a Chapel Roan, or name the artist that's new and upcoming. That person's been doing it for 10 years. We just don't see the backlog of work that they've been doing. I had to have a conversation with my daughter about that. She'd asked me who was a band that I saw before they blew up. And I got to see Coldplay at the Riv. And it was their Parachutes album. One of the best shows I've been to. It was awesome. And she had said, well, how did you do that? And I'm like, well, they were like a smaller band at the time. And because she knows who Coldplay is, because she's listened to music. But she's like, well, how do you find artists that are like that and then they blow up? And I'm like, kiddo, it's just a matter of having a listening, like being open-minded to listening to stuff. And then usually you'll find something you like, and then you'll start playing it over and over again, and it just starts to pick up speed and momentum. And sometimes it doesn't, because artists don't make that initiative to do like the legwork like you're doing. And that to me, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying, to add to that, like the artists that will either are on their way to becoming noticed or are happy where they're at, they're out there doing it already. They're all out there playing,
Yeah.
whether it's open mics or small bar gigs or they're opening for other musicians. Like, they're all out there doing it now. So,
Yeah, and that's just it. Is like, if anybody takes something away from this podcast, it's really like community is more important than anything, and building, and
yes.
that's what you're doing. Is like, you I've been working with so many people in a community of music around where you're at. And I know, like, you're talking about coming out here to do some open mics, which I'm super excited about, because I think it's gonna be really fun for me to start getting, like, seeing you do it as you're a good influence on me, and seeing how you handle it is gonna help me being able to be like, okay, like, my nerves are still there. And we'll be honest, I can't sing anywhere or play anywhere near your ability, but to be able to still be there and saying, like, I just have to be confident enough in my ability to do this, and I'm starting at the ground floor. Like,
Yeah.
that's the initial part for me, is like, just stay on the ground floor and build yourself up from there. And seeing you do that has given me a lot of notice of, like, okay, this is what you have to do. Like, you have to put the effort and work in to get to that point if you want to be as good as him as what he's doing.
Yes. Well said point, because part of it is you're doing you're doing your version of your work, your version of whatever your art or your music is. That's you do you. And the benefit, and another a core principle of getting out there and getting involved with the community or just socializing, is because that community support. I would not have had as many of these opportunities to perform and play music were it not for the people I've met through these open mics and throughout the community, and having conversations and getting to know people and supporting them, whether I'm going to their performances or I'm just buying their music because we
Right.
all know how that goes.
Yep.
So that community thing is immensely helpful, to be out there with these people, especially in this open mic community that I've been able to spend time with. But the whole idea of, like, you need to do you and be you, and use the open mic as an opportunity to kind of do a status check on your own work, is very important. It's very, very important to test whether or not what you've been working on behind closed doors in your room or in your home, is it actually, like, how does it sound? How does it feel? So for your abilities, just keep doing you. And I mean, just I can't stress how important it has been, at least for me, to have gotten out and socialized, talk to people, share stories, open yourself up to them about your own insecurities and your own fears. And all of a sudden you start realizing, holy cow, there are tons of people just like me, and everybody just wants you to do well.
Yeah. So, it's funny because you're exactly right about just being your authentic self of what your music is. And I think you and I did one in Nashville, where when you came out to Nashville, and I did some of the backing drum stuff for you. And we only got to do like one song from that open mic.
It was like one or two. So we kind of got a raw deal at that one.
Yeah. But the thing that I took from that was, like, whether anybody was good or bad, I actually really enjoyed it just for the pure fact of seeing people being vulnerable with other artists. Like, it didn't have to be a judgmental thing, because there were really good people that went up on stage, and there were some that were like, oh, and it gave me perspective of, like, knowing, like, well, I'm going to be one of those people that are going to be like, ugh. And that's okay, because that's what this is supposed to be. It's not meant to be, and I think that's the thing. If you can take your ego out of an open mic, of using it as that tool to build your self confidence up, but also going in knowing like this is for me to build up myself, not to prove anything to anybody except that
Yeah.
I can get up here and I can do this, and I'm going to try my best to do it. I think that's extremely like helpful for new artists to understand. Like, just be humble and join a community that like you can work together with. And not to keep going, but I also think it's so critical for us to understand that like not everything has to be about business, you know? Like the
Yeah.
networking doesn't have to be what do I get out of this person? The
Yeah.
networking should be like I really like this person. This person's just got a similar like this could be really cool. I could I this me and this person could work together on like getting new shows or something like that. But it doesn't have to be what can that person do for me? It should always kind of come off as being like I really dig that person. I would love to play with that person. You know, that's a
Yeah.
they have really cool music and I would enjoy playing with them. And I'm not. You've been doing this more than I have. I've. It's been a long time since I did. Well, since the last one we did one, but um, I just always think too many people, artists, think that you have to get something out of a relationship. If that makes like that's
I,
not what it should be about. It should
yes,
be
I agree. It totally shouldn't be about that. One of the things that I've noticed when you're with the right people, meaning when the crowd or the group of musicians are the right people, um, everyone understands that there's a responsibility to to give support and feedback to everyone else. So it's not a matter of you jump up there and you play your songs and you when you're done, you don't have to do anything else. There's there, I get the feeling, the impression from a lot of these people that w- when you're in the audience, you're listening and you're clapping for them and you're helping create the euphoria and the excitement from the support. Like it, everyone seems to know they have a responsibility to do that. To Because if they're receiving support from the community members, cheering them on and high-fiving them and whatnot, they understand they need to do the same thing for others. So that whole community vibe that open mics can have is supremely supremely helpful for, I think, people that don't have community like that. Because I can't tell you how many times I get to these open mics like, hey, it's so and so. Hey, so and so. Hey, how you? Oh, he's here. Oh, so and so came in. Oh, that's good. And
yeah.
it's this camaraderie, and you'll see these people at open mics all over the area. Like you go to one on Monday. Oh, there's so and so, and then maybe next week you show up on Tuesday at another one. Hey, it's so and so. I saw you on Monday. Like it's it's a true community in the sense that everyone is looking to it's almost like they're subconsciously and they understand that what they will get from this is community camaraderie and support. And one of the best experiences I had at an open mic that sort of opened my eyes to what these things truly are for some people is there was a woman who had her turn came up and she got up on stage and she had her piano and she made it clear that she's still learning and she's not the greatest at this yet, but she clarified for the audience that playing piano and singing at whatever ability she was at is what helps her to literally stay positive enough to want to live and be joyous to be alive. And even if she was awful at it, she is up there to sing these songs because it literally makes her want like it preserves her life to sing and play piano, and it becomes a dynamic of, well, no, this woman, this is how this woman survives, and what do I as a listener do in a situation like that? Well, there's a responsibility that comes in to support and understand where she's coming from. Is that, yeah, she knows she's not great at this, but the simple act of this performance will improve her depression and will keep her happier, and so on and so forth. So it's a wild range of dynamics and skill levels, but ultimately you yourself will come to an understanding when you go to these open mics of what it means for each individual. And to me, it has, on a number of occasions, has been very, very, very important to check yourself when you go to these things, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, and I hate being the like older guy that like, I think sometimes younger people need to understand that is like, as older people we are, like, that should be the thing you kind of have to go into this being, is like just being humble and knowing some of us are starting later than others, you know, and it's just a matter of we're all getting to that point of just wanting to enjoy playing music with other people. Especially, I know you and I like write music back and forth consistently. We haven't really sat in a room together in a long time to write a song, but we still thrive on that as a community. We still write music together. It's just in a different aspect, but like that's all we are trying to do, is have that community of other people writing music with us, because it's really fucking hard. You and I both know to write songs by yourself.
Oh yeah.
And that's another thing of just finding those connections of other people that you can like connect soul wise with musically, and being able to write with them. And it's not about being, you know, the guru of the guitar or whatever. It's just like building a community and having fun. You know, that's the most important thing too, is I feel like so many people miss out on that, is like not having fun.
Yeah.
And that's why that one open mic for me was one of the most fun I had. Whether I played good or not, I had a blast doing that one. Like,
right?
The people were nice. It didn't matter if I messed up, because for them it was like, I don't care. It's music and we're enjoying it, and whatever you're doing, we're having fun with. That kind of support is amazing. And you weren't sitting there proclaiming that we were going to make millions of dollars. It was enjoyment.
Yeah, I'm, you know, deep down, I'm a little bit of a hippy dippy guy.
I think we both are.
Well, yeah, I guess so. One of the things that, one of the concepts, like, it's, if you're in the right place, so many of these open mics are super safe places. Like, it's a safe place for you to try, because so many of the people that come to these things, they have their own fears and insecurities about performance and being and sharing. I mean, if you're doing this right, you are sharing your emotions and your inner feelings, and like you're putting yourself out on the line in front of people, like vulnerability, and most of the people in the audience or the other performers that are waiting for their turn are very much in your same shoes, and it's a safe place to where it doesn't matter if you muck something up. You did great, that's awesome, no, that's great, I really like it, you know. Support, and that is a huge tenet, or the huge point of, I think, our discussion today, is that open mics can be a supremely invaluable way to blossom as an artist and a creator, if you just get the nerves to go do it.
Mm-hmm. Get out of your own way.
Yeah, 100%. And I know you're slowly you have material that you've been writing and producing and putting out, and stuff that you've been working on, and you yourself are on the brink of maybe trying out your own singular performance, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to get to that point. I need another practice of a couple more months of practicing. But I think when you show me stuff, it gives me a little bit more understanding of like, just get off, you know, get off and go do it. Like, just go and do it. Even if it's one song or two songs, just go do it. Like, nobody's gonna remember it anyway, except for you.
You're so right on that. The there are so many performers and so many, let's say, mistakes being made. Nobody remembers at all. Most of the time, what you did. And they're not going to remember tomorrow. They're going to be at work. They're not thinking about, oh yeah, remember when that guy went oh in the middle of the song? No, they're not. They're not thinking about that.
Or if they do, get enjoyment that you made people, that you have a sense of humor of knowing, like, that's the ego in check of like, and not going off on a tangent, but like being bullied in my life and stuff. Like, nobody can bully anybody more than my own self. Like, I am my own worst bully at this point. And so for me, it's like, if that's the worst you're doing, like,
right.
And the other thing to that, and I'll leave it at this, I'm going to shut up after this for all of it. I will always say, when I now try to perform, the first thing that crosses my mind is, why am I so afraid? I am up on stage and I am not saving anybody's life here. I'm not a doctor in a surgical room trying to perform open heart surgery. Like, the thing I'm doing is like the least scariest thing you could be doing. Like, the only thing I'm going to be doing is maybe hurting somebody's ears with my voice. Like, that's it. You know, it's so it puts it in perspective of like, sometimes it calms me down and makes me realize like, oh yeah, it's really not that big of a deal. Like,
and you don't give yourself enough credit. You're when the time comes to see you perform, doing your own solo work, it's going to be fantastic. And
well, thank you.
It's all a matter of just doing you. You can't do, like, if you can't go wrong if you're doing it how you want it to be.
Yeah.
There's no wrong.
Yeah, that's a good point. Totally. Right? So, what else do you have to add to this? Because I am done speaking.
Oh, well, the other thing that I can add to it is, I talked about how in the very beginning of trying to do this, it was tough to figure out where in the world are there opportunities to perform live. And once you discover, there are open mics, you may have concerns of, okay, well, what do I do at the open mic? 3 songs or, 15 minutes? Well, just learn 3 songs. Either learn 3 cover songs, because lots of people enjoy doing covers, and that's all they do. And they go and they perform, and they do their cover songs, and they sing and do the whole 9 yards. And even if it's just cover songs, or write yourself 3 songs, or do 2 cover songs and 1 of your own songs. And that's really all you need to get started. Technically, you don't even need to have 3 songs. You just do 2 songs and say, that's all I've got. And then it's not as though you have to meet that as a quota. You don't have to have 3 songs. So once you sort of figure that out and you understand that, okay, these open mics are all over the place, and a lot of them are really great opportunities. They're great places to play and meet people, and you are doing what it is you set out to do. Then I've been noticing, okay, the next level of, all right, where are there opportunities other than open mics? Well, there are a lot of places that hire on musicians for like 3-hour blocks. So from 7 to 7 to 9, or 7 to, or like there's 3 hours that you need to basically fill the airspace with your music and some cover songs, so to speak. Then I thought about, okay, well, there are those opportunities. What about beyond that? Like, can you just go to a bar and ask to, hey, can we play can our band play songs here for an hour or so? And I've noticed, especially in the larger scale venues, the downside to all of this is most places aren't interested in giving the stage for free to a group of musicians that don't have a following and that can't bring people in. They are primarily intent on getting bands that essentially like live jukeboxes, like human jukeboxes. So the trend that I've been running into, sort of trying to see if places will let you play, it is frustrating at the moment. The trend seems to be that most establishments, if you're going to be a full band or if you're going to be a solo experience, like if you want to, like, we need the stage for 2 hours tonight so that we can put on a show. Well, they mostly just want bands that can, do 80s covers, or are you a Queensryche cover band, or like, it's not so much about providing open opportunities for new talent to perform. So with that said, going back to the open mic communities, it's extremely important for being able to build connections for people that you know, to try and get newer or bigger opportunities. And the more time you spend doing open mics and performing, the more experience you get, and the more check marks on your report card, the more you have to kind of pressure some other venue to let you play. So long story shortened, if you're starting out, you're new, and you're beginning at this, find open mics near you and bite the bullet and go. Perform, meet the people, keep a well-rounded understanding that they're all in the same boat as you, and maybe some of them aren't because some are more experienced than others, but just doing it, committing to doing it, is what's going to help get you further and further in your art form. And don't try too much to try and, I want to play the Metro. Well, no, that's contract related, and that's big record company related, and at the moment,
big ticket
you may
sales.
not be big enough to use the Metro. The open mics everywhere, and use them, get on it, jump on the bandwagon, and try them out. They've been fantastic for me, and like you even said, your experience with that one open mic that we did. Your bass pedal broke?
Yeah, well, that was just a cheap bass pedal that I used for just like the cajon, and it fucking broke.
Right, it broke right before we started playing. Oh my god! Oh, what? Just go! And
it still broke too.
Is it?
Yeah, I didn't fix it.
Nice, real nice.
No, but you're exactly right.
Yeah. But that's all I've got for now. I just wanted to ram the point home that open mics can open doors for you. See, I did that.
Community, work on your abilities and chops and all that. And a third one, I think, would just be like having an open mind and working with other musicians and artists and supporting each other. I mean, that kind of
Yeah.
goes with community, but that could be, stop looking for ways of connections of only helping you out. Just try to be that like mutual camaraderie of like, you know, let's build each other up in a way.
Yeah. Ask not what your country can do for you.
Yeah,
Ask what you can do for your country.
that's damn right. Well, on that note, we good?
Absolutely. Thanks
right,
for
well,
listening.
No, that was good. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment if you don't like it. That's okay. We don't have egos, and we're open for suggestions. So
Yeah.
please
we would
let
absolutely
us know.
we would love to hear from anyone that is listening if you are.
Yeah, and if you are, there's going to be links in the bio for both of our music project stuff going on and the stuff we're doing together. There's going to be some new stuff we're going to be releasing together soon. I'm excited. We're just getting to start to work on that. So there's lots of good stuff in the future.
Awesome.
All right, well, thanks everybody.
Thank you.